this whole situation with Nickmercs and Call of Duty and Activision and all this stuff is very, very wild. And I feel like the media is sort of like misrepresenting everything that's going on. So I do want to try and represent everything properly as best as I can. I know I'm not going to be able to encompass everything. And I know that we don't have the facts about everything quite yet. But this drama has basically started a firestorm within the Call of Duty community and also the greater political community, as this is beginning to make waves in political circles as well, including the right wing. So it all started with this headline: Activision removes Nickmercs Call of Duty bundle after controversial Pride Month comments. What was said exactly? What was so bad that Activision had to remove Nickmercs' bundle, which included a custom skin with his likeness in it? What was so bad that he had to get his skin removed? Well, he said, "Leave little children alone." Which on its own doesn't really seem too controversial, right? Well, here's the thing. This was in response to a tweet made by, I believe, a caster who was quote tweeting this video here. Now, this video here shows protesters, Antifa, and parents of students in California. They were getting into it in fighting. And Puckett here, he basically was just saying, I'm sick and tired of all this violence. Just let the LGBT activists have their way. That's kind of what he's signaling here by saying, let people love who they love and live your own life. And I kind of understand to a certain extent, because I think that all of us are pretty much, sick and tired of all the violence. I'm getting tired of it, and I hate seeing, fellow citizens getting hurt and injured at these situations. Now, Nickmercs decided to respond here by saying they should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. And, he was generally met with a lot of positive responses. There were some negative responses as well. But there were a lot of positive responses, especially among the gaming community. Now, before we get into the responses, I think it's important to think about what it was exactly that he was responding to, because that is all the context that's needed when it comes to, well, what exactly is happening here? Well, here's what's actually in response to. While they were meeting, to ratify Pride Month as like a month to celebrate at the school, that's not really why all the parents were there. And I'm seeing this misreported. This is one of the main points of contention that I have with much of the reporting, making it seem like he's upset with Pride Month being celebrated. No, he, as well as all the protesters, were upset about LGBT content and gender ideology being taught in schools. And this local broadcast actually captured it really, really well in the first few dozen seconds of this segment here.
Some parents plan to protest today's Pride Assembly at Satakoy Elementary School in North Hollywood. Eyewitness News reporter Jaysha Patel live at the school with the latest for us. Jaysha.
John, parents are feeling very divided about this Pride Assembly that's happening today. Some parents believe that Pride and LGBTQ plus topics should not be taught in schools, while other parents don't mind. And I want you guys to take a look at these trailers that are parked right across the school. They say, "Leave our kids alone." Now, this all started with an Instagram page that was created by a group of parents encouraging others to keep their kids home today to protest the Pride Assembly. The school calendar lists today as Pride, Spirit, and Rainbow Day, and parents have mixed feelings about it.
I didn't bring him into this world for a teacher to explain them what is gay or what two men or two women do. Some certain things should be left to the parents to decide whether they want their kids to be exposed to it or not.
Now, that's quite literally what Nickmercs meant. And how do I know that that's what Nickmercs meant? Well, he actually said so. He explained his entire position in a live stream afterwards.
I'll say this. I saw a tweet, and I didn't like what I was seeing, man. Okay? I saw parents brawling in front of a fucking school with kids. I just didn't fucking like it. I'm sure a lot of you guys can understand how that video would piss some people off. It pissed me off. I mean, listen, my wife and I just had a baby. We seen these kinds of videos. It's sad, but her and I agree that we want to be the ones to talk to our kid about things like that. There's nothing to get crazy about. It's just, it really is that simple.
And I think, it's a very, very fair take. He goes on to say that, he doesn't, oppose, even the LGBT community or gender ideology, but he would just rather teach his own children about it rather than have the school, teach his kids about it. Now, one question that you guys might have is, well, who was in the wrong in the whole fight? Because there have been reports from multiple sides. Some people have been saying that it was, the parents attacking Antifa. Some were saying that it was Antifa attacking the parents. The official report from the police actually said that there was violence on both sides. And this is the best footage that I could find of the violence starting. It was really hard to find good footage of this whole situation. But this is the best video footage that I could find at first glance of, this fight starting out. And so here we just see, a lot of fighting here. Now, I do think that this poster is biased. I'll just put that as a disclaimer, because if you look at his YouTube channel, he's following, he's like recording all of these like drag protests and doing all this fawning coverage, complaining about was like homophobia and stuff. But I do think that as a firsthand literal news reporter, because he's there doing actual reporting and journalism, props to him for doing that. I think that it is fair to take his words about what happened in the situation into account. And what he said was a massive brawl erupted when the right-wing extremists, normal parents, finally succeeded in crossing behind the police line, culminating in the street. And it seems like what he's saying is kind of corroborated in this video if you watch closely here. So the person who's on the ground getting tussled with by the police is a parent. All the Antifa people are clad in their uniform, which is all black outfits and masks. So this is just the parents tussling with law enforcement here. Now it looks like, once police start pushing the guy away, Antifa rushes the person who, crossed the line, and then that's when the fight started. And then everything got out of control from there. So it seems like this actually was started by the parents there. Of course, there's enough blame to go along all sides, but it looks like the main catalyst for the actual violence initially was, the parent crossing the police line. Now, a lot of popular content creators have gone on to, give Nickmercs some support. And that goes from, we have Tim the Tatman here, who even asked Activision to remove the Tim the Tatman bundle from Call of Duty Warzone in solidarity with his friend Nickmercs. And then Trainwrecks TV himself also went and said F cancel culture himself. The CEO of Rumble said that he stands behind Nickmercs. We've also seen, XQC even went and supported, Nickmercs to an extent.
Okay. If you talk about the absolute term and significance of sexuality, then I kind of have to agree with that. I feel like the way that sexuality itself, guys, usually the way it works, and that I know of, is that they usually start teaching and talking about like sex stuff later on in school, right? Mm-hmm. So that
he has a good point here, because this is an elementary school, right? This is not like a middle school. This is a high school. This is an elementary school.
The parents can teach their kids about it before the school and introduce it themselves, because it's a pretty sensitive topic. Okay, that's how it was for me and how I've known about it.
It's not just XQC. It's a streamer named Swag who also went on to speak on the subject and decided to support Nickmercs.
I definitely think, taking Nick's skin away or taking it out the store, I think it's a little OD. So I think, and because of that, I think we got to rock Nick today. I think that's OD, in my opinion, taking his skin out the store. Now, as far as the other stuff, chat, you know what I'm saying? That's a whole different monster, you know what I mean? But more so just with the skin being taken out on that aspect, I thought it was a little harsh.
And that's a fair point. You know, he doesn't even have to agree with what Nickmercs said, which sounds like he doesn't even agree with what Nickmercs said, but we all can kind of agree that it's pretty extreme just to remove the skin from the game. Asmongold went on to speak about this.
I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have reacted as badly if he didn't make it the comment under a tweet that like was about people attacking LGBT activists. Like, it's not even about like what was said. It was more about like the context. I stand with Nick. No, I think a lot of people do. Like, I've paid attention to a lot of the conversations around it, and I would say like in every neutral platform, people are like vastly in support of Nick. Like, I would say like 70-80% of people are on Nick's side, if not more. They want to entrap you to say something? Who are you talking to? Yeah, who's they? Yeah, why would I be afraid of talking about something? People are going to get mad at me? I think a lot of people support them, like Nick and Tim and Dr. Disrespect. And the reason why you see other content creators not supporting them is because you can lose sponsors for it.
They're afraid.
Nobody wants to defend Nick or Tim or anybody like that because they're worried about just, you know, even defending what this person is saying, getting you labeled as like a homophobe, and then you have a bunch of psychos on Twitter that'll take what you say and then turn it into something different, and then go to your sponsors and cry about it and get your partnership removed.
Yeah, and he's got a great point because, you know, I think the reason why we see so many people in the gaming community supporting Nickmercs here and not nearly as many people outside of the gaming community, you know, have a similar reaction when someone, you know, gives a similar opinion is that mainstream media has very much been infiltrated by this hyper-political, extremely partisan atmosphere where you have to, at the least, acquiesce to the extreme, far left progressive activist wing in order to not get canceled. Meanwhile, these gamer guys, these like gamer dudes and gamer bros, like they have nothing to lose. You know, they've been in like COD and Halo lobbies for years, slinging slurs back and forth. So like, you know, if they say, I'm not, you know, on the whole like gender ideology bandwagon, you know, that's like the least of their concerns when it comes to getting canceled. You know, half these people probably have already had cancel campaigns against them, to be honest. Like, so they have nothing to worry about. They have nothing to lose, which is why I think they're so honest about their own political position. And, you know, like Asmongold said, you know, when people are quiet about things like this, you know, you have to wonder if it's, you know, just because they're trying to save their own hide because they don't want to be canceled by the aggressive progressive wing.
Do parents have the final say when it comes to their kids? I mean, yeah, they obviously do. It's not even a question. Like any parent, like if they don't like the fact that there's like pride stuff in school, they can just take their kid out of public school. Mm-hmm. That's their right.
And this is why we see homeschooling, becoming vastly more popular, is because we're seeing a lot of this indoctrination infiltrating public schools nowadays.
As a parent, teachers would disagree with you. Well, teachers aren't the ones that matter. The parents are the ones that matter because it's their kids. But yeah, I mean, I will say that I think 95% of people that are having conversations around this issue are not having conversations about the issue. They don't want to see the other side. They don't care about the other side. You see a lot less people supporting Nick that are content creators because they're afraid of losing sponsors. In every single neutral news source, Nick has been overwhelmingly supported. And that's just the facts. Mm-hmm. There it is.
Frankly, that's my favorite response to the whole situation. Now, some people went and took it a step further. Not just saying they stand with Nick, but also doing this.
I mean, just imagine. I mean, he's one of us. He's one of us streamers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to get your own skin and bundle and that whole collaboration on the biggest shooter franchise out there and be one of the first to do it in Call of Duty, that's such a massive accomplishment. you know, and he worked hard years and years, built a nice community. He's a great representation of a streamer gaming, you know? And just like that, he made it, got it in there, and they pulled it down. So what I got to do?
Here's the moment, y'all. Here's the moment.
Is uninstall the game.
He uninstalls the game.
Number one. I mean, don't get a mistake. In this year's Call of Duty, it's the worst in its franchise.
Now, I actually wondered, if this game would be boycotted, would there be enough people left playing the game for that to even make a dent in the user base? Because so many people have already been boycotting the game. So many people have already been fed up with the game. And plus, this game, not just this game, but a bunch of other Activision titles have been plagued with so many bugs. So many bugs that some of the games are crashing and stuff, and they've gone weeks and weeks and weeks without even addressing or fixing the issue. And a lot of people have been upset about that because, this game is basically being hacked and they're doing nothing about the game. But all of a sudden, there's this tweet, an extremely minor tweet that most people agree with. And all of a sudden, Activision's like, we can't have that. We can't have that in the game. The bugs are fine. But Nickmercs, that's a bridge too far. It's like some of the silliest, most petulant stuff I've ever seen from any AAA title, AAA game creator, AAA production studio. Absolutely wild.
But that decision by COD's PR marketing team, I'll tell you right now, man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to digest for the two-time.
Yep. And so he later said that, he's going to keep the game uninstalled unless Activision apologizes or brings the skin back into Call of Duty. Now, one may assume that this means that Nickmercs just wants everyone to just get rid of the game from all of their devices and boycott the game, but that's not entirely true. We have a couple streamers here who have said that Nickmercs is completely fine with them playing the game.
Listen, guys, you guys think I wouldn't be playing this game if Nick wasn't okay with it? Bro, come on. I wouldn't just be going behind his back and continue to play this game if I didn't know he was fine with it. It's super simple. If Nick had a problem with it, I would not be playing this game. He understands, what's going on right now, and it's fine. I would not be playing this game if there was a big problem with me playing it between me and him. You guys can't make it out to be this big thing because it's just not with me and playing this. Nick and I are still gonna play. We just won't be playing COD together. Simple as that. That's my fucking brother. Lives right down the road from me. Will always be my guy. Nothing's gonna change that. Super simple.
Yeah,
that's how Allie and I do.
Seems fine to me. And also, Joey, to kind of bring this full circle, I think has probably one of the most level-headed takes on this whole situation. I really liked Asmongold's take when it came to the politics, but Joyo, I hope I'm saying his name right, has a really good point when it comes to Activision as a company, and it's a really good commentary on what it takes to get people to boycott something.
Because I keep seeing it over and over and over and over, and it's just getting on my it's just getting annoying, honestly. Do I think taking out the skin for Nick was so extra? Yeah, I would say so. But also, all the people that are just spamming, Joe, you're still playing COD? You're playing COD? Nobody's on COD. We're supposed to net. You're on COD, so you're on this side, you're on this side, you're on the...
Watch
There's
this.
no sides. There's no drama. There's no politics. But what I will say, though, is, where was the same energy for this? Where was the same energy for this, though?
He's got a great point. Gross allegations against Activision Blizzard when some of their employees were just having some absolutely disgusting behavior against, some female coworkers, to the point where it ended up with one female coworker committing suicide because they were being, I think it was like blackmailed with explicit, multimedia or something. I forget exactly the situation, but there was just a terrible, terrible, terrible sexual harassment culture at Activision. And I don't know who, decided to boycott Activision because of that. Now, I will say that, these stories, unfortunately, didn't get a whole lot of attention. So I think that might have been part of the whole situation, too. But Joyo, I hope I'm saying his name right, makes an excellent point when it comes to this, where it's like, we say, yo, grab your pitchfork, folks. We need to boycott Call of Duty. We need to switch to a different game when, they have an outrageous, reaction to a pretty normal tweet. But we're not going to have the same energy when it comes to them having a culture of sexual harassment. I think it's entirely fair to take the gamers to task for that. But, at the end, what ended up happening? Well, Nickmercs ended up getting more popular, more famous. People decided to continue boycotting Call of Duty. And, life goes on. It's kind of weird. We have, these blow-ups and dramas over, some very normal, tweets that happen on social media, and then cancel culture does its thing. But at the end of the day, not much has changed, in real life. I think it is great to see, though, that not everyone is willing to just, bow the knee when it comes to, the cultural wins of the day. I think it's a pretty big win, actually, to see a lot of people stand up and being like, no, I actually think that this particular take is fair, and you're not going to be able to scare me into pretending that I've changed my mind. So I do appreciate that aspect of things. But also, at the end of the day, is removing one Call of Duty player's skin the worst thing in the world? No. Now, I will say this. It's a de-incentivizer for me to buy Activision's games. I was actually thinking about eventually going through and buying some of the old Call of Duty games, when I get some more money, if I ever get more space on my computer's hard drive. And this made me be like, nah, man, do I really want to give this money to this company who cares so much about at least virtue signaling to Marxists that, they're removing a skin because the person who it represents said something normal? This is absolutely ridiculous. This is crazy land. So I'm just going to stick on my side with my CSGO and Halo Infinite and just keep on having fun with you guys in the Discord that way. By the way, if you guys want to play those games with me, let me know in the comments. Join my Discord. Game with me. I enjoy gaming with you guys. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. I feel like no crazy take needs to be had. Nickmercs' tweet was fine. Activision overreacted, and Activision needs to decide to maybe fix their bugs in the game and also fix their sexual harassment culture before they start trying to, police who says what on Twitter of all places. I don't think that, Activision has the moral high ground when it comes to that. I'm sorry.